I'm a Canadian Punjabi of Hindu heritage, born in political Pakistan and born in political Islamic family. Maybe the same case with Khalid Umarji. Khalid Umarji, please join us. Your many articles are very famous in our Hindu community, especially the one, What is Wrong in India Becoming a Hindu Rashtra. So please shed your light on this global financing network of Islamists and jihadis and communists, please.
Thank you very much, Goraji, and I hope everyone can hear me well. Well, I've been listening to everyone with quite an interest, and the esteemed panelists have spoken on the modus operandi of the communist and Islamic nexus in the world, and particularly in India. Advocate Monica ji spoke about the and Sardar Ravi Singh ji spoke about the economics, the halal economics. It was quite a surprising for me to know that there can be a halal hospitals and halal doctors as well. So it's quite a learning. And Mr. Binay Singh spoke about the financial side, especially about the BCCI bank. So I believe the question remains that why it is happening. So I would like to understand why the global communist left supports the radical Islamic Jihad and why India is particularly a target. So quickly, I would say that first we need to find out the inherent intellectual similarities between these two ideologies. So I would say that both are fascist. So the irony is that calling somebody fascist now is a slur, but Marxist becomes a fashion statement of humanity and justice. Whereas we conveniently forget that Marxists have killed even more humans than the fascists did. So we need to identify the elephant of fascism in Islam and Marxism. So for just a background, fascism is the name which Mussolini chose for his political ideology after the First World War. But both Marxism and fascism have basically socialist tendencies, believing in the state control. The only difference being that the communism is based upon class and fascists use nationalism. There's hardly any other difference. Mussolini grew up as a socialist and he maintained his belief in the efficacy of socialism until the end of his life. He undoubtedly considered that fascism is just a variant of socialism that was nationalistic. So we see that the states like Soviet Union, China, and North Korea used Marxist philosophy to create dictatorships the way German did with fascism, and Islam do the same through Sharia law. So if we look deeply, we find that fascism and totalitarianism are really the ideologies of the left and Islam. Both Islam and Marxism support authoritarian rule as a prerequisite for social justice. Marx's utopian classless society required the dictatorship of the proletariat, and all the modern Islamic thinkers, they believe that democracy is against the basic ideology of Islam, and Allah is the sovereign and not the will of the people. So Islam, to me, has an inherent love affair with Nazism. Nazi slogan, Ein Volk, Ein Hawk, and Ein Führer, which is one nation, one empire, one leader, is nothing but La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. If Führer is replaced by Muhammad, it's the same. So the Prophet of Islam was political, religious, and a military leader, all into one. And that's the reason, basically, that why Islam will always remain the source of militancy and terrorism in the world. The modern thinkers of Islam regard, Islam not as a religion, but as an ideology of power that unites heaven and earth into one entity, ruled by Islamic thought and ideals. So Islamic thought is compatible with fascism and communism, as all these models are based upon the superiority of the leader and the denigration of the freedom of thinking. So I would say that the fuel which runs the engine of Islam as well as the Marxism and Nazism is hatred. So the object of hatred is change. In Nazism, it's a race. In communism, it's a class. And in Islam, it is the infidels. So therefore, we reach the conclusion that the left liberals and Islam are natural bed partners. Both are ideologies of the extreme, both vouch for power, both want a state to govern, both want control on freedom of thinking, both dictate censorship. Freedom of speech is the first casualty, in any dictatorship. So India, due to its culture and religious traditions going back thousands of years, and due to its education, is a target. We need to look at the demography of the world of India. And this will actually show us why the liberal left Marxism supports the Islamic Jihad. With 204 million Muslims in India, Muslim population in India is the world's third largest and the world's largest Muslim minority population. Well, India is home to about 11% of the world Muslim population, and which will be 15.5% by 2050, as per the estimates. So the Indians, if we look at the Indian subcontinent, Muslims are 500 million, which is around 30% of the world's total Muslims. This is something which is a staggering figure. So the liberal left wants to destroy Hindutva. And the educational institutions and USA are having a conference today on dismantling global Hindutva. So you understand the reasons. Both the left and Islam, they ultimately want to control the world through their superstate, which is now, I would say, through corporations. It's not about China or USA or Soviet Union anymore. It's the world which is ruled by big corporations. And the regime change doesn't need tanks and bombs now. All you need is democratically, you can do the regime change through your smartphone and through your palms. So I would like to, to remind you of the President Eisenhower's farewell speech on January 17th, 61, where he gave the US and the world, I would say, a dire warning, what he described as a threat to democratic government. He called it the military industrial complex, MIC. So in 60 years now, after that, we see that reality is really biting us hard, with MIC having additional partners in the shape of now big tech, big pharma, and big finance. They want to control what we hear, what we listen, the way we vote. And that is a bloodless and coolest, control of power. So free speech and dharmic teachings can stand against the tyranny of this, which I believe, of this MIC and big tech, big pharma, big banks, and information IT giants. So now, when the radio and TV was born, that altered the information age, but they were controlled and they had a regulatory checks and balances. Then came the internet, and it transformed the public sphere. In fact, if ever there was a public sphere, now it is all virtual. Today we are sharing our minds and sitting thousands of miles and several time zones apart. That has given the big tech the space and the power to control humanity. The way we think, the way we act. This is now they have got the opportunity to create an Orwellian world. Today, our communication platforms are just controlled by four big tech companies: Twitter, Facebook, Google, and Amazon. And they have the power to collectively ban citizens whenever they want in the world. Even the sitting president of USA can be banned. So I believe that the Hindu Dharma has the cultural and the intellectual power and history behind it to stand against this tyranny. India is a very big country, it's a continent. So Hinduism, if we go by the traditions and the teachings, Hinduism stands for absolutely free speech. There's never been a culture of book burning in India. Openness to ideas is expressed in the Vedas. So Hinduism is a polytheistic religion. It is not a doctrine-based religion. It allows all kinds of beliefs. And that is what the liberal left is worried about, in my opinion. India is home to the 94% of the global Hindu population, and the Muslims are spread all around the world. So they become the communists think that it would be their partners in gaining control and subverting democracy and free speech. So, which are the two guardians of human liberty, I would say. So the liberal left think that they would be able to deal with the Muslim once they are able to break the last barrier to their world control, which I think is India. Muslims know that they will kill infidels and leftists alike when they win. So they're both doing kind of a takia at the moment. And the leftists in the academia, which are a sold commodity, they have a naive view that all the religions are the same. This is what they are being taught, which is not, obviously. How can you equate Jains and Muslims? So that is, in brief, as the time is short, my understanding that why Islam and the liberal left nexus actually exists and operates. So I think I would end this.
Thank you very much, Khalid Umarji.